You might wonder what the bandhas are. That's a Sanskrit word for how to develop strength deep inside the core of the pelvis. Sometimes we hear discussion of the bandhas when we talk about core strength. In fact, the magical mystery of Mula Bandha is one of the deepest secrets of the yoga practice. So today, let's take a look at that. This is a place, an energetic experience that happens down in the bottom of the pelvis. By engaging the floor muscles of the pelvis and the whole network of muscles that happens in the interior space of your pelvis, you can get stronger and you can have more support and more flexibility in your hip joints and in your lower back. There's a really easy way to do this, but it requires a laser beam-like focus, precision of mind. We have to get in touch with the inner body. When you make contact with your pelvis, there are sometimes blockages and uncomfortabilities that come up. Be brave and go directly through them. So if you want to find the area most succinctly related to Mula Bandha, drop your attention down into the pelvic floor. And the way that we can do this is by finding and locating the space between your sitting bones, the space between the tailbone and the pubic bone. You're not going to get a bird's eye view of that today, but you can find it within your own body. So find the space between the tailbone and the pubic bone, between the right and left sitting bone, and then draw that whole network of tissues in and towards each other. It's a subtle movement. You may wonder if you're doing it or you're not doing it. In fact, if you're wondering that, that probably means you're doing the work in the best possible fashion. Then keep that space active. My teacher, Sri K. Patabi Joy, said that Mula Bandha can be accessed by contracting the anus. So contract the anus as well, and that'll help tone up the bottom of the pelvic floor. If you move to the front of the pelvis, you'll find another space right behind the pubic bone, and I want you to activate that space as though you're contracting the urethra, and you'll draw the lower portion of your pelvis into the body. Next, add in the layer called the floor of the perineum. That's that space between the genitals of the anus. And again, you're not getting a view of that today. We want to contract the floor of the perineum by pulling it into the body. You want all of that activation to come together. The last place that we need to add in is specific to our gender. So if you have the female anatomy, which I have, you're going to draw together the opening of the vagina, and you're going to close that in as though we're drawing into the interior space of the pelvis. And if you're a man and you have the male anatomy, you're going to lift up your testicles into the body. We want every tissue inside of the pelvis to be active and alive. Rather than being sexual in connotation, this is actually helping us direct the life energy to the inner body. So once we catch hold of that root lock, we can actually direct our full flow and the full life energy deep within. You don't need to have maximum activation. Like any muscle, this exists on a continuum. Pick the point that works the best for you out of everything we went over and start there, and let your experience of Mula Bandha flower and flourish until you can find your natural core strength.